Hello everyone, this is Akash Verma and here I come up again with my next video on how to interface ADXL345 accelerometer module with RPI4. We will start this video with the introductory part like what is ADXL345 and how does it work, and second, what is I2C communication protocol. We will then look at the circuit diagram image made on FreeSync software, in which we will try to understand the connection between the module and our RPI4, and finally we will write the code in C and C++ language using RPI4 to interface our ADXL345 and get the results. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So before starting with our introductory part, there are some prerequisites requirement, like first one is breadboard, second connection wire, third ADXL345 module, and last Raspberry Pi 4. So let's get started with the introductory part. So when you will get this video, you will get a compressed folder too with name ADXL345. So here you can see that I'm opening this folder, and inside this folder I'm opening this IMG2 image. So this image is of our module. So here you can see that there are 8 pins. So here this first one is the ground, second is VCC, third chip select, then interrupt 1, interrupt 2 out, serial data, serial clock. So there are 8 pins and this is the main IC. So we are using module, not the IC. So keep in mind that there is a difference between module and IC. Okay, so we can apply the 3 volt to 6 volt, from 3 to 6 volt to our module, but actually it depends upon the manufacturer of the module. So the module which I have operates on 3.3 volt. So keep in mind, before applying the VCC to your module, please check your datasheet according to the manufacturer of your device. Okay. So now if I close this image and open PDF file, this PDF file is a datasheet of our module ADXL345. So here you can see there is a general description of our module, like ADXL is small, thin, ultra low power, 3x accelerometer with high resolution. It is well suited for mobile application. You can use or access the data, either use SPI communication protocol or I2C communication protocol, and it is well suited to mobile applications. We can detect the static acceleration or dynamic acceleration. So it depends upon our application, or it depends upon our purposes. So beside this introductory part, you can use this general description as the introduction of the ADXL module in your presentations. So beside this, you see there are many more features, like we can detect the single or double tap, or that we can monitor the activity or inactivity of this device. We can detect the free fall, and the supply voltage ranges from 2.32 voltage to 3.6 volts. So as I told you earlier that it depends upon the manufacturer. So I'm suggesting you please use 3.3 volt if you are not sure about your VCC voltage of your module. Okay, so here you can see the input output voltage range between 1.7 volt to VS. VS is here is a voltage source. So what is voltage source? So voltage source is actually the voltage which we are giving to our module. Like if we are giving 3.3 volt, then our VS is 3.3. So input output voltage ranges from 1.7 volt to 3.3 volt. So here you can see that if we use the SPI communication, so SPI communication require 3 or 4 wire, 4 wire extra beside the VCC and ground. But if we will use the I2C communication protocol, then we have to use only the 2 pins SDA and SCL. Okay, so I2C communication sometime called as a 2-wire communication. Okay, so it is very flexible, and there are many more things like you can read out from here. And there are some application like we use it as a handsets, medical instrumentation, gaming, pointing devices, industrial instrumentation, and many more things. And here you can see the functional block diagram. So this is the internal structure of your module. Okay, and just close this PDF file. So it is all about the introduction of our ADXL module with features. So now the question is, how does it work properly? So to know the working of the ADXL module, please refer to this link. You will get a lot of things, and you will get a better understanding of the ADXL module, about the working of this module. So here are the three links. Like the first one is for introduction. So if you want to know more about the ADXL module, you can use this link too. And if you want to get the more features of ADXL and to know it, or want to improve your understanding, so you can use this link too. Okay, so now the next question is, what is I2C communication protocol? So to know the I2C communication protocol, just copy this link. You can either use this one or the below one for the better understanding of I2C communication protocol. Okay, so here I open the Chrome and just paste my link. So here we will get a website link, website page. Okay, so I2C communication protocol. So I2C stands for integrated circuit. So it is a bus interface connection protocol. Okay, so incorporated into devices for serial communication. So basically it is a part of serial communication. I2C is not a different thing, it is a part of serial communication, but the way of the communication is different if we compare it to the UART communication. Okay, so it is designed by Philips Semiconductor in 1982, and recently it is widely used for the short distance communications. So it is sometimes also referred to as two-wired. As I told you earlier, it is a two-wired interface or two-wired communication protocol. Okay, so it uses only two bidirectional open drain lines for data communication called SDA and SCL. Both these lines are pulled high. Okay, so SDA stands for serial data and SCL stands for serial clocks. So you can use the I2C communication protocol both as a, not both, we can choose either as a master mode or slave mode. Okay, so just open this image into the another tab, and you will see that here are the devices. Suppose there are many more devices, n devices, and you want to get the data from the n devices to the mic inside the microcontroller. Now microcontroller have the limited pins, and suppose you have the 100 devices, so micro device is not capable of getting the data from the 100 devices. So in such condition, or in such situation, we will prefer to use the I2C communication protocol. So here you have to just connect all the devices. Okay, SDA and SCL line connect to your microcontroller SDA and SCL line. Okay, so by triggering the devices one by one, you will get the data from each devices. Okay, so by doing this, you can also not only you can use very less pin to them in microcontroller, but also it will improve your project, and you can use as much as devices based on the I2C communication protocol. Okay, now close this, and you will also get some another information. Just move on the benefits, or we can say features of I2C. So it is a half duplex. So bidirectional communication is possible but not simultaneously. So it means like you can send the data or receive the data but not at the same time. So second is synchronous communication. So synchronous communication, the data is transferred in the form of frames or block. So it is obvious that you will get the data into the frames bit by bit or in a byte, depending upon our communication protocol. Okay, and there are many more things like serial transmission. It uses the serial transmission for transmission of data, used for low speed communication. Okay, so there are advantages like it can be configured in multi-master mode. As I told you earlier, that you can connect as many devices with your microcontroller by using I2C communication, and the complexity is reduced because it uses only two bidirectional lines. Okay, unlike SPI, as I told you earlier, uses 3 or 4 lines. Okay, it is a cost efficient. Limitation is slower speed. Okay, you will receive the data at a very slow receive or send the data at very slow speed, or because it is a half duplex device. So it is a half duplex device used in I2C communication protocol. because you can't receive or send the data at the same time. Okay, so this is the limitation of our I2C communication protocol, and I hope that you understand what is I2C communication protocol. Okay, freezing image, just open this ADXL freezing image. Now you can here see that how I connected my ADXL to RPI. Okay, so see here, I connected my ground of ADXL to my RPI ADXL, and I apply 3.3 volt to my ADXL module, and here you can see that I connected my ADXL SDA, okay, AD serial data pin, to my Raspberry Pi pin number 5 according to board. So according to board, the fifth pin is the SDA pin, and fourth one is the SCL pin, and the fourth pin is actually a GPIO pin number 2, and I think the pin number 5 of this board is GPIO 3. Okay, so this is how we will connect our ADXL module with the RPI Raspberry Pi 4. Okay, so now move on the programming part. Okay. Now close this image and open your VNC viewer, and I just click on it, and here you can see that my Raspberry Pi window appeared. Now go to your terminal, and if you have connected ADXL345, then type GPIO I2C detect. Okay, here you will get the address of your ADXL module. Okay, so your address may be different and maybe at some other place. Okay, so like my address of the ADXL is 53, maybe your address will be 24, maybe 25 or any other, and it is also not necessary that your address appear here. Your address may be appear at this place, anywhere else in this sector. Okay, so just keep in mind what is your ADXL address. Okay, now just let's go to understand the code. So just minimize this VNC viewer, and here is the code ad.cpp. so it is about 37 line code. Okay, so I here import 3 libraries. First one is IOStream, second is Universe Standard, and third is Wiring Pi I2C library. First one is used for input and output purposes to get the input from user and print the specific value or string, any kind of string. Second is used for to give the time delay. Okay, and third one is used for our I2C communication protocol. So after this library, I just type using namespace std. It is a package. So basically I have imported the std namespace package here, so that I can use the output keywords coming from the IOStream properly. If I don't use this line, okay, so I have to use the std here like this. Okay, so I have to use it everywhere wherever I use the cout or cin keyword. So just to remove such kind of confusion, that's why I just use the namespace here, and I can now directly use the cout without using the scope resolution operator here like this. Okay, so here is the main function. Okay, so inside this main function I declare a ft variable with the integer data type. Ft stands for file descriptor. Okay, so now I set up my I2C protocol here and pass this function wiring pi I2C setup takes one argument, and this argument is address of your ADXL. So my address is 53, so just I put 0x53. So suppose your address is 24, so you can add 0x24. Okay, so this is how you have set up your I2C. Okay, and this function, this wiring pi I2C setup function will return integer value, okay, and that integer value may be positive or negative. And suppose if it returns 0 or greater than 0 value, then it means that this address is valid and your device is connected to your Raspberry Pi. And if suppose the value is less than 0 or -1, okay, so that means your device is not connected and this address is not valid. So to print this print the integer value, so that's why I used cout here. So here I just type cout. So this is extractor operator, okay, and this is extractor operator, and inside this I print the string, and here I just change the string from init result to device status, okay. So after this I just declared a character array of size 6, okay. So it has a size 6, so it means we will store the value from 0 to index number 5, and at the base index I stored a value 0, okay. So compiler will automatically convert this integer value into a character. And after this I declared 3 variable xyz. xyz denotes the xyz coordinates of our ADXL, okay. So here I declared the value xyz, and by default in C or C++ language, any value or any variable which have no values, if the value is not assigned, then it have by default dump value, or we can say a garbage value, or okay. So after this declaration I put a while loop which runs this block of code for infinite time, and inside this I just call a function name is wiring pi I2C read register 8. So wiring pi I2C will read the register 8-bit register, and it takes two argument. First one is the file descriptor and second one is the register address. So register address basically from where your data will come from, okay. So actually when you will do interfaces with your ADXL345, so it gives the output, or it gives the data 2 times in some second or in an instance. So suppose here I'm getting the value for 3 seconds, or we can say your ADXL will give the value one by one, which does contain a 8-bit value, okay. So this is the half value, this is the another half. So this is the complete one value for X, this is the complete value for Y, and this is the complete value for Z. So this first one is the half X, then half another X, half Y, half another Y, half Z, and half another Z, okay. So the value that I passed in the second argument of this each function is the address of your register, okay, ADXL register. So after this declaration, after this assignment of the value from right hand side to the first left hand side, the first value of this register 0x32 assigned into the character array 0 index in character array index number 0. The second value stored inside the character array index number 1, then 2, 3, so on up to 5. And last I have applied a binary operation, okay. So here you can see that this bar is called as OR operator, or binary operator, which do a binary operation on your decimal value, and it will convert the decimal value into the binary, then convert that binary, or write the addition operation on that binary value and again change into the decimal, okay. So if you see the left hand side of this bar or this OR operator, you can see that I put int puff index number 1 and this operator and then 8. So it means uh, I get the index number 1, I fetch the value of index number 1, convert the whole value into integer data type and convert that integer value or apply binary operation on that value by shifting 8-bit the 8-bit towards left hand side. Okay, so I just shift the 8-bit of this value, okay, towards left hand side. Okay, and here you can see that I just convert the 0 index value into integer. Now whatever the result will be here at these two both ends will add up together. Here the binary addition is applied, so the result will be stored inside the X, and that's how this same operation applied on the index number 3 and 2 and stored the result into the Y, and then I stored the value, okay, in Z, and finally I just print the XYZ coordinates here. Okay, so just save this file. Now suppose that this file is inside, so I just cut the file and paste inside this folder. So you will get this file .cpp file. So first of all you have to import this file. So I have already imported here, so I just remove it and try to import the file from your system. So just go to this option, send files, then move towards your folder ADXL345 folder and just import this file. Now your file is copied successfully and you can see this file here. Just open this file. So just I go to the desktop path and here I just compile the program ad.cpp and I just put argument minus wiring py and program compiled successfully. To run this program just type a.out. Now you can see that here are the coordinates of our coming from our ADXL345 module. So if I try to change or tilt my ADXL module, you can see that the value changes. Okay, so if I